What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Stellar Lumens today, XLM. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys. Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. We're sitting at about 37.7 cents right now. Had a lower low yesterday, but quite the low it was, man. Just dumped and pumped immediately, closing the day green. That's what they call a dragonfly doji candle. Look up what dragonfly dojis mean, and it'll say it's a very bullish candle. That's what that means, right? You had one down here, and that marked your last low. You did pump relatively immediately afterwards, but then you were boring, right? We're in a lot different circumstances now than we were back here, right? I would assume this will have a more bullish effect than this one did. And that was still a pretty bullish effect, right? But overall, this looks like a nice bull flag to me, is really what it looks like. The consolidation is tight. It is moving down, but it's very tight. The move up is clearly the dominant trend. You took all this time, right? Like, let's just see what you did here. Just to put it in perspective, from the low to the high, it took you 20 days to form this move. And then from the high to where you are now, it's been 26 days. And you haven't really retraced too much of this move at all. In fact, from a low point to a high point, you've gone right to your 382, which is a very common thing to do. Anytime that you go up in a very bullish fashion, in a very dominant and strong move like this, the area that I would expect you to find support at is the 382. Normally, we look for lower targets, right? And it's always possible to find support at the 382, even if it's not a very bullish move. But with bullish moves specifically, you look for that. And to add to the bullish effect, anytime you reach for the 382 or the 618, it's important to mention that as well. You reach for it, but you just can't get there. You reach for it, but you just can't get there. Actually, that time you did get there. If you reach for it, you can't quite get there. The 382 and the 618 are some of the most utilized fibs whenever it comes to fib traders, right? Day traders, stuff like that. When it comes to trading algorithms, trading bots, they base their targets and stuff like that off of these numbers. So what this means, whenever you reach for these areas that have a lot of eyes on them, a lot of people, it doesn't take much, even if any of these lows here to that high, you're going to be pretty close to this 382, right? So there's probably a lot of support, a lot of attention at this area. When you can't hit that area, you can't even go through it, let alone reach it, but you're reaching for it and you just can't get to it. There's so much buying pressure. They call this front running, and it tends to be a very bullish signal. Pair that with the fact you've got a very bullish candle. Pair that with the fact you've got a very bullish pattern, this bullish flag. I just think it's inevitable that this thing is about to rip. It really is. Doesn't mean that it has to rip now, but again, you've moved up. It took you 20 days. You've already moved sideways for longer than that. Any day now, literally any day. It could be today that this thing starts, it resumes its move. And probably, honestly, in a week from now or 2 weeks from now, we'd look back at this video and probably say it's completely fair to say that right now you are beginning this next move, right? It'd be like saying, like down here, right on this day, you were beginning that next move, right at this low, right here. You're beginning that next move, but you just wouldn't have really known that until probably this day, right? I think it's the same thing here. I think in about a week's time, it'll be abundantly clear that we're starting this next phase up now. We're in the midst of it now. It's just literally the very beginning, like the very, very, very beginning. The next target area, I want to take this high to low here and just put that on there, and then I want to zoom out, okay? Then I want to zoom out. That high to low, maybe it'll respect some high to low targets that we have here. This high to this low, that was your 2021 May high, your low here in December 2022. Look at that. Your 2272 from this high to low matches up perfectly. It couldn't be more perfect. Okay, maybe it could be a little bit more perfect, but very well. $1.57 with $1.54 at the overall cycle high to low versus your relative flag high to low here. 2272, 1272. I think that's where you're going at a minimum. XLM, Stellar Lumens, I think at a minimum you're going to see $1.54. You're at 37 cents now. $1.54 is on the horizon. And where does this horizon end? Where do we see this coming in? End of January. By the time Trump is inaugurated. That's my thoughts. $1.54, $1.57. The next targets after that, based off of this fib from a high to low, would be the 2618. Based off of this fib high to low would be the 1414. And they both also line up kind of in very similar areas. Now, sometimes, and it's not very common, I'm going to delete the larger fib here for a second, okay? I'll bring it back in a second. Oftentimes you find resistance in the primary target zone, and then once you get above the 1618, you find resistance in the secondary target zone. You don't normally see this 2886 being included in that secondary target zone. That's a tertiary target. But sometimes during these very bullish moves, you can just beeline it all the way up to your 2886. I colored it green for a reason, right? Normally, when you run through, just like straight through all of these areas, which you might do, I'm just assuming based off of what you've done recently, that you might go on a very bullish move here. If you were to tear through all these areas, you're very likely going to stop at the 2886. It's very uncommon to just stretch all the way up to these threes or more. Sometimes you get that 3113, but oftentimes if it's a nonstop rally, you do stop at the 2886. That's why it's green. I colored it. It's like the money line, right? That's why I called it there, or colored it there. Most of these don't really have significance, but the white zone has significance for me. You know, this I chose the 2272 at that color because it stands out. I feel like the red clashes against it a little bit too. That's why there's red on it, so it like stands out more. And the 2886 being green to remind me that if we ever see that happen on a small move like this, because normally, again, you take a fib like this from a high to low. I'm sorry I'm doing fib education here. I know you just want the price predictions, but it's going to the moon, guys. 254. No, I don't know. $1.54 at a minimum. It really could go to 246 by the end of this move, and we'll go over that too. But the 2886 is right there above the 1414. The 2618, which is the next target above the 2272, is right there below the 1414. It makes sense that this target being your secondary target from here, it makes sense that this being your primary target from this fib, this being your secondary target very close to here. If you don't stop at $1.54, $1.57 by the end of January, that you would go at least to like $2, $2.17, $2.43, and hey, ho, wait up, there's more to go. High to low here, all-time high to this low that we had in March of 2020, the COVID crash. Your 1272 lines up right there at 246, which is very close to this 1414, which is very close, if not damn well on top of the 2886 here. Just because you see all this significance and coincidence, whatever you want to call it, lining up at the same areas, doesn't mean it has to go there, or it doesn't mean it has to go there right now. Maybe it will go there inevitably, but just not during this move, right? Like this, $8.35. The 4618 lines up perfectly with the 1618 of this overall fib. This 3618 here lines up very well with the 1414 of this overall fib. That doesn't mean that we're going to go there by the end of January. It just means when we see these areas, we're probably more likely to find resistance on them when you find this kind of congruence. Look at this going all the way up too, man. I love this. Isn't this crazy? Just I love fibs so much, you guys. I want to just show you. We're gonna end the video. I think that you've seen everything you need to see. But if you want to nerd out with me for a second, just look at how crazy this shit is, man. I love the Fibonacci sequence for this reason. It's stuff like this that whenever I started doing TA, it made me think. The dots clicked, or the gears were, the cogs were turning in my head. I'm like, this is the tool for me. So I took the overall high to low, right? If we look at a monthly basis, it's the high to low of this overall pattern, okay, that you've been in for multiple cycles. And then what we did was we just took the high to low of this most relative move you've had, the flag of your bull flag, right? Literally, that's what this is. Look up bull flag. It's picture perfect. That's what this is, okay? And then also on that note, if it is a picture perfect bull flag, before I get to what I'm trying to say, if it is a picture perfect bull flag, which it is, then you might expect it to go all the way up to ding, 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 $2. Hey, $1.57 is your minimum target, but you really could go above, and I do think you will go above $2. But what's really cool is this high to low here, this relative high to low, the 2886 lines up with a 1272 all the way from like multiple years ago to a T, basically. Your 3618, your triple golden extension, lines up with the immediate next target, and then your 4618 lines up with the golden ratio here. I just think that shit's so cool, you guys. I geek over it. I think it's cool. And then, of course, you go higher, these deeper extensions, they tend to fall out of whack. Sometimes they work out, but oftentimes not, right? But I just throw them on there to see. Sometimes you get significance, and every chart has its own personality. Sometimes you get those things. But Bitcoin, by the way, it actually does respect a lot of very deep fib extensions if you take it out of log scale. Everything I'm doing here is based on log scale, but if you deeper extensions are normally more applicable for cryptos if you take it out of log. But it's different. It's different, right? If you find significance in log, you find significance in linear, more power to you. To each your own. It's fine. right? No way's better than the other. It's only you're only log is only better than linear if it helps you make more money. Linear is only better than log if it helps you make better decisions, right? That's all that that's all that it is. You can do either. It's not that important. But man, I'm getting off on a whole different tangent. I should have ended the video about 5 minutes ago, so I'm going to end it here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys. Thank you all for being here. There's no doubt in my mind that Stellar Lumens will be worth at least $1.50 to $1.60 by the end of January, but I genuinely think it's going to be above $2, if not at least like $2.46, somewhere in that range. You never know. All right, take care. Hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.